Welcome back. Today, we're diving into something big happening in Greeley, Colorado. We're talking about Proposition 1A, and it's a huge deal for voters there. So, what's really at stake here? Well, this is way more than just another box to check on your ballot. We're looking at a decision that has literally billion-dollar consequences for the future of the entire city. All right, so let's get into it. A billion-dollar ballot question. When you really boil it down, this whole thing is a referendum. It's about a very specific ordinance that the City Council already passed. And that ordinance is the key to everything. It's called Ordinance 30. Basically, it's a zoning change that paves the way for two gigantic development projects, Catalyst and Cascadia, on this huge 834-acre piece of land in West Greeley. So here's the bottom line. A yes vote on Prop 1A gets rid of that ordinance and the projects stop, dead in their tracks. A no vote keeps the ordinance and the development moves forward. It's a super clear choice, right? But the consequences, they're massive for everyone in Greeley. Okay, so before we jump into the whole for and against debate, you gotta understand what we're even talking about. Let's look at the vision here, the big picture for Catalyst and Cascadia. The main attraction, the centerpiece of this whole thing, would be Catalyst. And get this, it's a city-owned entertainment district. I want you to picture this, a pro sports arena that can hold 10,000 people, a massive indoor water park, a big conference hotel, plus all the shops and restaurants you can imagine. The whole idea is to put Greeley on the map as a major destination in the region. And when we talk about the money side of things, wow, the supporters are throwing around some huge numbers. They're projecting a total economic impact of $2.9 billion. And that's just in the first 10 years. That is a staggering amount of money. It's not just about the total cash flow either. They're also talking about jobs, specifically 1,385 permanent year-round jobs. And let's be clear, we're not just talking about the temporary construction work. These are lasting jobs in things like hospitality, retail, and running the place. Real career opportunities for people in the community. So you build all this stuff, but how do you keep it busy? Well, the plan is to pack the place. They want to host over 200 events every single year. Think about it. Professional hockey games, big-name concerts, major conventions. It would be buzzing with activity all the time. Okay, so that's the big, shiny vision. Now let's look at the arguments for voting no on Prop 1A, which basically means you support these projects and want them to happen. The whole case for voting no really boils down to three things: jobs, growth, and some much-needed upgrades. Proponents are pointing to a total of almost 5,200 new jobs when you factor in construction. And here's a huge point. They're talking about $56 million in road improvements that the developer pays for. Not you, the taxpayer. That's a big deal. Plus, they've already got a 40-year lease lined up with the Colorado Eagles hockey team, so you've got a reliable, long-term tenant from day one. And it's not just the developers saying this. You've got prominent local figures like Weld County Sheriff Steve Reams calling it a once-in-a-generation opportunity. They're really framing this as a game changer, something that could completely transform the economy for the whole region, not just Greeley. And here's something you really need to know. The city's own elected officials, the Greeley City Council, they've officially taken a side. They voted 4-2 to formally urge people to vote no. Their argument is that they've spent years negotiating this deal and have built in strong protections for taxpayers. Now they want to see it actually happen. But, of course, a billion-dollar vision usually comes with a billion-dollar price tag. And that's where the other side comes in. Let's look at the case for voting yes, which is all about hitting the pause button on this whole thing. And their main concern? It's all about the financial risk. The people who oppose this project have done the math, and they've come up with a pretty scary number. They calculate the city's total potential financial exposure, that's all the bonds, all the fees, everything, at over $1 billion. For a city the size of Greeley, that's a massive, massive number. So you might be asking, how in the world does the city secure that kind of financing? Well, here's the kicker, and this is where the debate gets really personal for residents. The city is putting up 46 public buildings as collateral. They're mortgaging them. And we're not talking about just any old buildings. This list includes City Hall itself, the police department headquarters, other absolutely essential government facilities. This right here is the heart of the opposition's argument. They're saying, wait a minute, you're putting our core public assets at risk for a project that might not pan out. They see it as a huge gamble. And you're hearing this directly from people in the community. Take this quote from resident Nicole Rinner, who says, "We must protect Greeley's future finances." Her point, and the point of many others, is that the risk to the city's future is just way too high. They want stronger, legally binding promises for the community before they're willing to take what they call an extraordinary risk. And there's one more piece to the vote yes argument. It's about what economists call opportunity cost. Basically, they're questioning the city's priorities. They're asking, hey, why are we pouring all this energy and financial backing into a massive entertainment district when other really important city projects, like a new rec center or renovating City Hall, are being put on the back burner? So when you step back and look at all of this, you can see it's really about two totally different paths for Greeley's future. Two very different philosophies. And this really lays it all out, side by side. On the one hand, a yes vote is all about hitting the brakes. It's about demanding more transparency, reducing the financial risk to public buildings, and focusing on the city's existing needs first. It's the cautious approach. On the other hand, a no vote is about hitting the gas. It's about embracing a huge economic opportunity, accepting that risk is part of transformative growth, and trusting that the whole thing will pay off. It's a big, ambitious bet on the future. So, in the end, Greeley's future is quite literally on the ballot. It all comes down to the voters. Will they choose the ambitious, high-risk, high-reward vision, or will they opt for a more cautious path, demanding a different deal? This decision is going to shape not just the city's skyline, but what Greeley is all about for generations to come. The choice is theirs.